What happens when a cold billionaire is forced to marry his assistant and ends up falling for her? You won't believe the twists, the secrets, and the heartbreak in this story. Watch now, hit that like, and subscribe for more love stories that will leave you breathless.
I never believed in fairy tales, or love, or the kind of woman who waits at the altar, glowing in white, promising forever. That's not the world I come from. In my world, contracts are stronger than vows. And power? Power is inherited, or taken. My father built Bennett International with blood and bone. But he made one thing painfully clear. He'd rather see it burn than hand it to a bachelor who treats commitment like a contagious disease. His final condition for the inheritance? I need a wife. In 30 days. Marriage. The word feels like a noose. But the company, that's mine. I've spent my entire life working for it, outshining every heir, every board member, every rival. I won't let it slip through my fingers because I don't play house. And then there's Kelly. She's been my assistant for 5 years. Sharp. Controlled. Damn good at her job. And completely off limits. Not because I'm noble, but because she's the one woman in this city who doesn't fall into my bed with a wink and a promise. Kelly Clark. Quiet elegance. Honey brown waves that tumble down her back like temptation wrapped in silk. Eyes like dark chocolate and secrets. She never flirts. Never lingers. She just exists in my office, one breath away, always perfect, always untouchable. But today I looked at her differently. Not as my assistant. As a solution. She's alone in this world, except for her disabled sister. Struggling, sacrificing, surviving. I've seen the way she quietly declines raises she deserves, the way she hides her exhaustion. There's a weakness in that kind of loyalty, and I'm not above using it. So I step into her office, lean against the doorframe with that smile she hates, cool, practiced, dangerous, and I drop the bomb. Marry me. Her eyes lift slowly from the keyboard. There's a beat of silence before she speaks, voice flat as ice.
Excuse me?
You heard me, Kelly. I grin. A marriage. Legal. Temporary. Strategic. You need financial security. I need a ring. Let's not pretend we don't both benefit. Her face doesn't change, but I know her tells. The way her hand clenches just slightly. The way her breath hitches for half a second. She's shocked. Disgusted. Intrigued.
Is this a joke, Mr. Bennett?
No, Kelly. This is a business offer. One you can't afford to refuse. Her cheeks flush, but it's not from attraction, it's anger. I half expect her to throw her coffee at me. But she doesn't. She straightens her spine and narrows those gorgeous, haunted eyes.
And what would this arrangement entail?
There it is. The crack. The opening. A few public appearances. A shared address. No real intimacy. Unless. I pause. Let the silence stretch. You decide otherwise. Her silence is louder than any scream. I can see it, her brain racing through possibilities, fears, desperation. And I know I have her. Not because she wants me, but because I'm the lifeline she never asked for. I turn away with a smile and toss the contract on her desk. Think it over. You have 24 hours. As I walk out, I don't look back. I don't need to, because I've just made the most indecent proposal of my life. And she'll say yes. They always do. But Kelly Clark? She's not like the others. And I have no idea the storm I just unleashed.
It felt like a dream. No, a threat dressed as a fantasy. Brian Bennett, my boss, my nightmare, my secret obsession. The man women in Manhattan would sell their souls to touch for one night. And he just offered me a ring. Not love. Not even affection. A business deal. Packaged in diamonds and manipulation. I stared at the contract for hours, its words burning through my skin like acid. Temporary marriage. Confidential. Mutually beneficial. And then the hook. Full financial support for me and for Claire. My little sister. The only person left in my world. He knew exactly where to cut. He always does. Claire needs another surgery. I've been scraping pennies for months. Working weekends. Skipping meals. Selling off jewelry I don't wear. And Brian. He knew. He watched me drown, then threw a lifeline with barbed wire. God, I hated him for it. and maybe hated myself more for saying yes. The next morning, we signed the papers in his penthouse. A view worth millions. Silence worth more. I wore white. Simple.
Clean.
No lace, no veil, no fairy tale. Just a dress I found on clearance, the fabric hugging my ribs too tightly, like it knew I wasn't supposed to be here. It felt wrong, like pretending to be someone else. A bride in name only. He looked stunning, of course. That crisp navy suit hugging his tall, arrogant frame. Blonde hair styled like he woke up from a fantasy. Eyes sharp and unreadable. His presence always sucked the oxygen from a room, and that day, I nearly forgot how to breathe.
Congratulations, Mrs. Bennett.
He said with that half smirk that makes women melt and me want to throw a stapler.
I didn't smile back.
I stood tall, steady, and said the only thing I could control. You can have my name, Brian. You can even have my address. But you don't touch me. Not ever. His smirk twitched. For a second I saw it, his ego bruising. But then he leaned in, slow and wicked, his voice low in my ear.
Don't worry, sweetheart. I only touch what wants to be touched.
My body betrayed me then. The flush of heat down my neck. The ache of memory, because I've dreamed of those hands before, more than I care to admit. But no, not anymore. He doesn't get that part of me. No one does. Not after the hospital. Not after the hands that didn't stop when I begged them to. I buried that part of me 6 feet deep. And I've been living in shadows ever since. So now, I share a name with the most powerful man in the city. I sleep in the same penthouse, across the hall from the bed where he fucks strangers and forgets their names. I smile for the cameras. I wear the ring. I fake the laugh. And every night, I lock the door to my room. And every morning, I pray he never tries to open it, because this contract may have signatures, but my heart, it's still mine, and it's off limits.
The ceremony was quiet, cold, legal. No tears, no kiss, no guests beyond the bored city official stamping our names into eternity with a pen. Kelly stood next to me in that plain white dress, beautiful in a way she didn't even try to be. Her eyes weren't glassy with joy. They were distant, like she was surviving something. Like she had survived everything. I told myself it didn't matter. This was a business transaction. Nothing more. She got her security. I got my company. Simple math. So I kept living my life. My way. Same parties. Same hotel suites. Same kind of woman with pouty lips and no idea what they're really stepping into. They'd come to me like it was an invitation to be ruined. And I'd give them exactly that. Kelly never asked questions. Never judged. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She didn't look at me like she cared. And yet, somehow, that's what started to bother me. Because she looked at me like she saw through me. Like she already knew the man behind the tailored suits, the penthouse, the press. And she was unimpressed. One night, I came home late, 3 drinks in, lipstick on my collar, and perfume I didn't recognize still clinging to my skin. The kind of night I used to enjoy. But as I walked past her bedroom door, I caught it. Her voice. Soft. Muffled. She was crying. I froze. Not loud sobs. Not dramatic heartbreak. Just the quiet, choked sound of someone trying not to break in half. I stood there, hand on the doorknob, heartbeat suddenly sharp and alive in my throat. But I didn't open it. Instead, I went to my room. Alone. Threw off my clothes. Sat at the edge of the bed that used to be full of noise and heat, and suddenly felt cold. She was my wife. On paper. In the tabloids. But she felt like a ghost in my own home. And the worst part, I was starting to care. About the way she chewed her lip when she was anxious. About the way she never let her guard down, not even in sleep. About the way she looked at the world like she didn't expect kindness from anyone. I'd built a life around women who adored me, who clung to me, who begged to be kept. But Kelly, she didn't want anything from me. Not my money. Not my body. Not even my attention. She was a stranger in my house. But somehow, her silence screamed louder than any moan ever had. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I was the one in control anymore.
I hear the giggles before I even reach the top of the stairs. Another woman. Another night. Another reminder that I'm just the legal checkbox he needed to tick. I clutch the edge of the stair railing, forcing a breath through my nose. I tell myself I don't care. I remind myself that this marriage was never real. I agreed to it for one reason, and one reason only, to save my sister. But lies, especially the ones we tell ourselves, have sharp little claws. I pass the guest bedroom and go straight to mine. The walls are thick, but not thick enough. I close the door and sit on the edge of the bed, staring at my white dress hanging in the closet. White. I wore white for a man who doesn't even look at me like I'm human. The tears sting, but I don't let them fall. I won't. That's the rule. That's the only way I survive this. But then the music stops. Silence takes over. And moments later, there's a knock on my door. Not a light tap. It's assertive. Commanding. Brian. I don't answer. The door handle jiggles.
Kelly.
I hate the way my name sounds on his tongue. Like a challenge. He opened it and appeared in my bedroom doorway, tie loose, glassy-eyed, the scent of whiskey clinging to his skin.
Tall, sharp-jawed.
Trouble in a tailored suit. I knew that look. Half daring, half expecting. That arrogant confidence like the world owed him every yes. I'm not in the mood, Brian.
I wasn't asking for anything.
I almost laugh. Since when do you not ask? He leaned against the frame.
We're married now. Shouldn't we? Act like it?
I froze. I didn't answer. I couldn't. He stepped in, slow, prowling, like a man used to women folding around him. But I didn't. Instead, my chest tightened, my throat burning. Brian, don't, I whispered. And that's when it cracked.
I didn't plan to cry.
I didn't plan any of this. But the tears hit fast, hard, and violent, like the dam inside me had finally snapped. Don't touch me, I gasped, backing away as my legs trembled. His face changed. The arrogance disappeared like mist. He blinked, once, twice, then stepped back like I had slapped him.
Kelly, what happened?
But I couldn't speak. I just stood there, arms wrapped around myself like a shield, sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe. He came closer, carefully this time. No teasing, no games, just gentleness. And then his arms were around me. I didn't hug him back. I couldn't. I stayed stiff as stone while he held me. I soaked his shirt in silence, shaking, broken, ashamed. He didn't ask again. He just stayed with me all night. No touch, no expectation. Just quiet warmth beside me, like he finally realized I wasn't just the wife on paper. I was human. Hours passed, my pillow damp, my body aching. And when he whispered,
I didn't mean to hurt you. What happened? You can trust me. And is that why you cry in your sleep?
I finally answered. My parents died when I was 17. I was sitting in a hospital hallway, waiting for someone to come tell me my parents were dead. Brian went completely still beside me. I forced the words out, each one a blade in my throat. I sat there for hours. Nurses walked by. Doctors avoided my eyes. And then one of them took me into a supply closet, locked the door. I swallow hard. He didn't touch my face or kiss me. He didn't say a word. He just did what he wanted and then left me on the floor. He was a doctor, or maybe a nurse. I don't know. I froze. And I never told anyone. I didn't scream too, not because I wasn't scared, but because I knew no one would come. Silence. Then his hand found mine, fingers trembling. And for the first time since we signed that damned contract, I felt him see me, not as a pawn, not as a burden, but as a woman with scars, a woman who'd survived, and maybe, just maybe, someone he could never ignore again.
She cried in my arms until her body went limp from exhaustion. and I held her like I never held anyone before. I didn't sleep that night. I sat there, watching her face twitch in her dreams, probably haunted by the same memories she tried to bury deep. The kind of pain that doesn't leave bruises you can see, but leaves scars that scream if you get too close. And it broke something in me. Or maybe it awakened something. I'm not a hero. Never claimed to be. But when I realized what she'd been through, what he did to her, I wanted blood. I had his name by morning. I had his face by noon. And by nightfall, I was standing outside his penthouse in Tribeca, pretending to be the same charming bastard I'd always been. He didn't see women. He used them. But I saw everything. The way he smirked. The smugness. The absolute fucking certainty that the world would never hold him accountable. That was about to change. While I smiled across the bar, I imagined what it would feel like to break his jaw with my fist. To watch his empire burn. But I didn't. Not yet. Because if I was going to destroy him, I was going to do it properly. Quietly. Completely. Legally, illegally, whatever the hell it took. I'd wear my suit like armor. Smile like a gentleman. But inside I was boiling. I told myself it was about justice. You don't get to hurt someone like her and walk away untouched. Not while I'm still breathing. But I didn't go after him with fists, though God knows I wanted to. That would have been easy. Too easy. Men like him, they count on it. A scandal. A fight. Something you pay for with money, an expensive lawyer, and a silence order. So I played a different game. My game. He's a respected name in private healthcare. High-end clientele. Ties to pharmaceutical investors, private clinics, overseas ventures. The kind of man who hides behind degrees, donations, and a polished LinkedIn profile. But even snakes leave trails. I had my legal team pull every license, every contract, every malpractice settlement swept under the rug. I made calls to 3 journalists. One of them owed me a favor. The other 2? I paid very well. By the time the week ended, whispers had already started in boardrooms and back corridors. Questions were being asked. His hospital was suddenly reviewing internal conduct policies. And I wasn't done. I bought a silent share in the clinic where he worked. Quietly, through one of my shell companies, I now owned a seat at the table, which meant I could pull strings and cut throats. The cherry on top, I sent him a letter. No threats, no accusations, just a single sentence typed in the center of the page. You remember her. I remember you. I don't know if he lost sleep over it. I hope he did. But none of it, erased the image of her crying in my arms, body trembling like she was bracing for more pain. That night rewired something in me. She doesn't know what I've done. Not yet. And maybe she never will. But every move I make now, every calculated strike, every dollar spent, every thread I pull, it's for her. And God help anyone who ever tries to hurt her again.
I didn't expect him to hold my hand.
Not like that.
Not gently. Not like it meant something. Not like it was the most natural thing in the world. Brian Bennett, the untouchable CEO with ice in his veins and the world at his feet, reached for my hand like it was a lifeline. And when his fingers wrapped around mine, I didn't flinch. I didn't pull away. I didn't freeze in fear. I felt something. Warmth. It crept through me slow at first, like sunlight slipping through the cracks of a dark room. But then it bloomed, rushed, burned. Not the kind of fire that hurts, but the kind that dares you to feel again.
He didn't say anything.
Just looked at me. Eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. Like he was trying to tell me something without words. Something he wasn't ready to say out loud. And for the first time in so long, I didn't want to run. We were in the penthouse office. Just the 2 of us. Papers on the desk, untouched. The sound of a storm outside tapping softly against the windows. And his hand, still holding mine like it was some kind of silent promise. My heart beat like it used to before everything broke. I lifted my eyes to him, expecting him to let go. He didn't. Instead, he brushed his thumb slowly across the back of my hand. My breath hitched. I was trembling, but not from fear. Desire. God, it came so fast.
So sharp.
I didn't know where to put it. What to do with it. My mind said no. My body whispered please.
You're shaking.
he said, voice low, rough. I'm fine, I lied. He leaned closer. His scent, clean, expensive, male, wrapped around me, clouded everything. I couldn't look away from his lips, from the space between us that felt like it was charged with electricity.
You don't have to be afraid of me.
I'm not afraid of you, I whispered. His hand came up, so slow it made my stomach twist. He touched my cheek, warm palm against cool skin. I should have pulled away. I should have stopped him.
But I didn't want to.
I wanted more. His forehead leaned against mine. My eyes fluttered shut.
I want to kiss you, Kelly, but only if you want it.
The air between us crackled. And then his lips brushed mine. Soft, careful, like he was touching something broken. Like he knew how much it cost me to let someone that close. My hands clutched his shirt, and I kissed him back. It wasn't wild. It wasn't rushed. It was healing. Every scar I carried felt like it was burning. Not in pain, in awakening. And in that moment, I didn't feel ruined. I felt wanted.
Alive.
And terrifyingly close to falling. So I ran, not knowing what I was doing.
She ran from me that night like I had burned her. And maybe I had. Not with cruelty, not with coldness. God knows I've done both in my life. But that kiss had heat. That kiss had truth. And maybe it was the first time in a long time that someone touched her and didn't take something away. So I waited. I didn't knock on her door. Didn't bring it up. Instead, I watched her in the quiet moments, her fingers twitching when our hands brushed, the way she looked at me when she thought I wasn't looking. I kept showing up. Every damn day. Soft words. Gentle glances. My instincts, my ruthless corporate CEO instincts, screamed at me to push. But something deeper told me, if you push her, you'll lose her. Then one night, the door opened, and there she was, Kelly, standing in the frame of my bedroom, her arms crossed like a shield, but her eyes betrayed the storm inside.
I can't sleep,
she said, her voice low. Neither could I. She stepped in slowly, and I swear my heart forgot how to beat. The silk of her robe clung to her skin like temptation made real. Her bare feet moved silently across the hardwood, but to me it was thunder. She stopped in front of me, close enough for me to see her trembling. I didn't move. God, I wanted to, but I didn't. Not until she did. And she did. She leaned in first. Her lips found mine, hesitant, soft, and then stronger. Desperate. And something inside me shattered. I wrapped my arms around her like I'd been waiting my whole life to do it. Like I needed her breath to breathe. She kissed me like she was trying to reclaim her body, her soul, herself. And I let her. When we sank into my bed, it wasn't just about skin. It was about trust. About healing. About two broken people finding a language they could finally understand. Every touch from her set fire to my skin. Every moan, every sigh, every whimper. God, she brought me to my knees without even trying. And when she whispered my name in the dark, I knew one thing for certain. I would burn the whole world down before I ever let her go.
The first time we made love, I was terrified. I stood in his room, my hands trembling, heart racing, as if every scar on my skin could be seen in the dim light. My body remembered too much. Too many hands that hurt instead of held. Too many nights I cried myself to sleep, hoping never to be touched again. But the way he looked at me, it felt like I was wearing everything he had ever wanted.
Are you sure?
He asked, voice low, hoarse, reverent. I nodded. He didn't rush. Not once. His lips brushed against mine like a question, not a claim. His hands slid over my arms, slow and reverent. Brian didn't touch me like I was fragile. He touched me like I was sacred. Every kiss he placed on my body was slow, patient. He asked with his eyes before moving lower, waited for my breath to hitch in that yes that only my body could give. And when he was finally inside me, I froze just for a moment. Panic flickered. My hands tightened on his shoulders. He stopped instantly, brushed a soft kiss to my cheek.
It's just us, Kelly. You and me. Nothing else.
And somehow, that was all I needed. Because when we moved together, it wasn't just about pleasure, it was about reclaiming something I thought I'd lost. Trust, power, the right to want. And with every stroke, every kiss, every breath, I felt myself burning away the past. He didn't just touch my body. He touched everything I kept locked away. And I wanted more. We didn't sleep that night. Not really. We made love until the city outside was quiet and our skin was damp with sweat and laughter. He whispered things into my neck that I barely remember, only that they made my heart ache and my eyes sting. For the first time, I didn't want to run. And I cried again. But not from pain. From relief. From pleasure. From the terrifying realization that I was falling in love with the man I was never supposed to trust. Days blurred into nights. Nights into something deeper. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. The moment the door closed behind us, it was chaos. Sweet, desperate chaos. Clothes hitting the floor. My back against the wall. His mouth on my skin. My breath caught in my throat. Our bodies colliding like we'd waited years for this. He made love to me like he was starving. Like he couldn't get close enough. Like I was something he thought he'd never deserve. In the shower. On the couch. In his office with the blinds closed and the door locked. Every stolen moment, every touch, every moan between the sheets, we lost ourselves in each other again and again. And it wasn't just sex. It was the way he pulled me closer afterward, like he couldn't bear to let go. The way he whispered things against my shoulder, things that didn't sound like a contract. The way he smiled, tired and wrecked and completely in love, like I was his beginning and end. I started to believe it, that maybe this was real, that maybe he didn't see me as an obligation anymore, that maybe I wasn't just his wife on paper. But love is a dangerous thing when you've been broken. And every time he touched my face with that softness in his eyes, every time he kissed me like a promise, I felt it, the fear, that if I let myself love him too much, and this all came crashing down, I wouldn't survive the fall.
I never thought I'd fall in love. Not like this. Not with her. But every time Kelly looks at me like I'm more than just a man with too much power and too many secrets. I feel it. That unbearable tightness in my chest. That ache. She's not just in my bed. She's under my skin. She's in every breath I take. And yet, she still doesn't know. She thinks this is just temporary. That I'm still the cold CEO who made her sign that damn contract. But it's not fake for me anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I wake up with her tangled in my sheets, her hair splayed across my chest, her leg hooked over mine like she belongs there. Like she's mine. Last night, I couldn't stop touching her. She had that look again, half defiant, half desperate for me. I kissed her with everything I've been holding back. And when I took her, slow and deep, she gasped my name like it meant something. Like I meant something. She doesn't know I'm in love with her. Not yet. But I will tell her. Until the call comes. My father. I hear the venom in his voice before he even finishes the sentence.
You took a contract and turned it into an actual marriage? You married a nobody, behind my back?
So he did know. Of course he did. He was fine with a sham marriage, especially since he himself gave me 30 days to get married. What he can't stomach is the possibility that it's no longer a facade.
Do you have feelings for this woman?
I stay silent. I won't apologize for loving her, even if I haven't said it yet.
Either you annul this farce, or you're out. No company. No legacy. No Bennett name.
It's not a choice. I don't even flinch. Then I'm out. There's silence on the other end. Then the blow.
You're throwing everything away. For a woman who only agreed to marry you because of a contract. You think she actually cares about you.
And that's when I realize, he's not just furious. He's scared. Because for the first time in my life, I'm not under his control. I hang up. This isn't just about business anymore. It's a war. And I just chose her as my side.
I was late. Not just a few hours.
Days.
And then a week. The moment I held that little white stick in my hand, blinking down at the 2 pink lines, the world stopped spinning. Everything inside me turned warm and terrified at once. My hand trembled. My knees nearly gave out. I was pregnant. With Brian's baby. It should have felt like a miracle. A piece of him growing inside me. A new beginning. But instead, it felt like a secret too big to hold. Like the universe had handed me something beautiful wrapped in barbed wire. I wanted to tell him that night. I dressed carefully, brushed my hair like it mattered, wore the perfume he always said made his head spin. He looked at me like I was made of stars lately. And I loved him. But I never got the chance. Because his father got to me first. He waited in the hallway of Brian's penthouse, like a shadow that didn't belong. Cold eyes. Colder voice.
"So this is what my son's fallen for."
He said, eyes traveling over me like I was a stain.
No pedigree. No legacy. Just a girl with a pretty face and enough desperation to fake a marriage.
My blood ran cold. He knew. Not about the baby, but about the contract.
You really think I'd let a woman like you destroy everything I built? Brian is blinded now. But I won't let him throw away the company. Not for you.
I tried to speak, tried to defend myself, but he cut me off with a single look.
You walk away. Quietly. No drama. No explanations. You disappear from his life and never contact him again.
I felt like I couldn't breathe. And if I don't, I whispered. He leaned closer, his voice now venom in my ear.
Then I take the company back. I crush everything he's building. I take your sister's funding, her care, her life. I'd make sure her medical care dried up, that she'd be blacklisted from every clinic in the state. That social services would be on your doorstep before the week was done. And I make sure neither of you see a cent again. I'll bury you both. Don't test me.
My knees almost buckled, because I knew he could.
I will destroy you so completely. That Brian won't even remember your name when I'm done.
And then he handed me a check. 7 figures. Enough to disappear. Enough to buy safety. Enough to buy silence.
But only if you leave. Tonight.
He made it sound like mercy. Like I was being given a way out. But it wasn't mercy. It was execution. I walked out of the penthouse numb. Hand on my belly, heart shattering, carrying only a suitcase with my clothes. I never got to tell Brian. Not that night. Not ever. Because I left. And in that moment, I didn't just break my own heart. I shattered his.
The penthouse was too quiet. No echo of footsteps on the marble floors. No scent of her vanilla shampoo in the hallway. No soft hum of her voice as she moved through the rooms like sunlight. Just silence. I called out her name. Once. Twice. Nothing. Our bedroom door was half open. My pulse spiked. I stepped inside, and the air left my lungs. Her clothes? Gone. The necklace I gave her? Left on the nightstand. The drawer where she kept her journals? Empty. There was no note. No goodbye. Just the unmistakable feeling that something had been torn from me. Like she'd evaporated. I tore through the house like a man possessed. Checked the garage. Her car wasn't there. She left me. No. That's what she wanted it to look like. But Kelly wasn't the kind of woman who ran without a word. Not after everything we'd been through. Not after the nights we shared. Not after how her body melted under mine like it belonged there. Like she belonged. Something was wrong. And then, as if fate wanted to punch me in the gut a little harder, he showed up. My father. Waltzing into my office like he owned the building. Smug. Polished. With a woman on his arm who looked like she was custom-built in a boardroom.
Brian, meet Annalise. She's a graduate of Columbia, speaks 4 languages, and her father sits on the International Finance Board. She's perfect for you.
He said smoothly. Perfect. Rage twisted inside me like a storm. This was his move. His next play. Slide the perfect woman in just as he wiped Kelly out of my life. I forced a polite smile. but inside my jaw was steel. Where is she? I asked quietly. My father tilted his head, all innocence and lies.
Who?
Don't play dumb. He didn't flinch. Just gave me that same look he used to give when I was a boy. When he reminded me how weakness is a liability. How emotions are weapons other people use against you.
She wasn't right for you. You were getting distracted. Losing your edge. I handled it.
He said coldly. My vision went red. Handled it? He straightened his cuffs.
You'll thank me later.
That's when I realized this was really a war. Because the man I used to be, the one who tolerated, obeyed, looked the other way, that man died the moment Kelly disappeared. And the one who took his place? He'll burn this entire legacy to the ground to get her back.
The pain came fast and cruel. A dull ache at first, then sharp, unforgiving cramps that brought me to my knees. By the time I reached the hospital, I was soaked in fear. And blood. They hooked me to machines. IVs. Cold hands pressing into my belly. A nurse whispering, "Breathe," like that would somehow stop me from breaking apart. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I kept seeing was his face. The last time I saw Brian, the way I walked away, knowing it would destroy us both. I'd left to protect him, to protect my sister, to protect the baby I was now losing. Tears threatened, but I blinked them back. The room was white and sterile, and I never felt so alone in my entire life. Until I heard his voice. Deep,
Rough.
breathless.
Kelly.
My eyes snapped open. And there he was. Brian. His tie was crooked, his hair a mess, his eyes wild like he hadn't slept in days.
Baby, Jesus. What happened?
He said, coming to my side like a man who couldn't believe I was real. I wanted to stay strong. I tried. God knows I tried. But my walls, every one of them, crumbled the second he touched my hand. A sob escaped my lips, not from pain, not from fear, but from the wreckage of loving him. Still, always. I didn't want you to know, I whispered, my voice barely audible. He leaned in closer, eyes burning.
You're bleeding. You're in a hospital bed. And you didn't want me to know?
I couldn't answer. He wasn't angry. He was broken.
What happened?
I shook my head slowly, tears sliding down the sides of my face. I don't know. Brian swallowed hard. His jaw clenched. He kissed my hand like it was sacred, like I was.
I'm not leaving this room. Not tonight. Not ever.
And even though my body was weak and my heart was a mess, for the first time since I'd left, I didn't feel alone.
She vanished. 1 minute, she was in my arms, the next gone. No note. No call. Nothing but silence, and a sick, sinking feeling in my gut that something was very, very wrong. I tore this city apart looking for her. Day and night. My people, private security, even the goddamn police. Nothing. Until one call changed everything. Hospital. Emergency admission. Kelly Clark. I nearly dropped the phone. When I saw her, she was almost unconscious. Hooked up to machines. Pale. Too still. I demanded answers, and when they came, they shattered me. She was pregnant. Was. The baby, our baby, didn't make it. I didn't even know she was carrying my child. Because while I was trying to keep her safe, while I was fighting behind closed doors with my father, threatening him to stay away, he was already 2 steps ahead. He threatened her. He said he'd ruin her, hurt her sister, destroy everything she loved if she didn't disappear. So she ran. To protect herself. To protect the baby. And the stress, the fear, it was too much. Her body gave up before she ever got the chance to tell me I was going to be a father. I stood at the foot of her hospital bed, fists clenched, heart splintering into 1,000 sharp pieces. I lost my child. And I almost lost her too. That was the moment I knew I was done. Done with contracts. Done with games. Done with my father. I walked straight into his office that same night, tossed every document on his desk, and said, "You win. Take your empire. Take your goddamn name. But you'll never touch her again." I left everything behind. and I started building something that would be truly mine. Something clean, honest, free, because I'd rather build a future from ashes than live one more second under his shadow. And this time, when Kelly opens her eyes, I'll be there, not as the man she had to run from, but as the man who would burn the world down to hold her again.
I expected him to vanish, just like everyone else did when things got too heavy. But Brian, he's waiting outside the hospital with 2 coffees and a bouquet of my favorite white peonies. Like he somehow remembered. Like he never stopped remembering. And when I see him, really see him, standing there in the early morning light, eyes raw and red-rimmed, my heart clenches so hard I can't breathe. Because he saw me. He was there.
He watched the blood on the sheets.
He heard the panic in the doctors' voices. He saw the life we made slip away. And he couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. I'll never forget the way he looked at me in that hospital bed. Not angry. Not disappointed. Just shattered. Like part of him broke right along with me. I thought he'd walk away. Thought losing the baby, disappearing without explanation, obeying the threats of his father, would be too much. But he's still here.
He found me.
And I'm terrified he'll regret it. Because I don't hate him. I never could. It was never his fault. It was his father's cruel voice in my ear, threatening to ruin his future, to destroy the company he fought so hard to earn, to hurt my sister, my only family, if I didn't leave him behind. So I ran, but I lost everything in the process. Now, sitting on this bench beside him, coffee trembling in my hands, I want to believe I still matter. That even after all this pain, I haven't lost him too. He doesn't speak right away. Just watches me like he's afraid I'll disappear again.
I saw everything. I thought I was going to lose you both.
He whispers finally, voice breaking. Tears burn my eyes. Because even after all the silence, all the hurt, he still says both. Like he never stopped hoping. And in that moment I realize, maybe some love doesn't fade. Even when it bleeds. Even when it breaks. Maybe some love stays. Right outside a hospital. With 2 sweet coffee. And trembling hands that still reach for mine.
I built my first empire with inherited power. This one. I built it from the ashes of everything I lost. And she, Kelly, she was there for every brick I laid. She wasn't just by my side. She was the side I leaned on. My partner. My anchor. The quiet force that pushed me when I wanted to give up. She helped me structure the foundation, dealt with investors when I couldn't look them in the eye. Stayed up late reading contracts. Woke up early to double-check projections. She knows this business as well as I do. She's not just the woman I love. She's the reason I survived. And now, when I walk through the door, the air shifts. Because for the first time in my life, I know who I am. Not a CEO clinging to legacy, but a man who built something real with her. She's on the couch when I get home, barefoot, in one of my old t-shirts. Laptop on her thighs. Glasses slipping down her nose. God, she looks like sin and salvation all at once.
You're home early.
She murmurs, eyes still on the screen. I drop my keys, loosen my tie. I wanted to see my business partner, I smirk. And the woman I'm in love with. She laughs, soft and genuine, and it does something to my chest. I cross the room, kiss her forehead, then her mouth. Taste ambition and comfort, and every storm we survived. My hand finds the spot beneath her ribs where she once carried our baby. The scar may be invisible, but I see it. I feel it, and I worship it. You saved me, I whisper, voice rough. Not just from losing the company, from losing myself. She cups my face with ink-stained fingers and smiles like I'm worth saving.
You saved me too, but this time, we save each other.
She says softly, when I take her to bed, it's not about power. It's not about dominance or control. It's about partnership, about love forged in pain and reborn in trust, about knowing that no matter what happens next, this woman is mine, not because I own her, but because we built something neither of us could have built alone. A company, a life, a future, and for the first time, I don't just feel like a man. I feel like a man who finally has everything.
I heard the knock at the door. It was soft, hesitant. Not the kind of knock that belongs to power or pride, but the kind that carries regret. Brian opened it, and there he was, the man who once tried to destroy us, the father who thought love made his son weak. He looked smaller now, older, his skin pale, hands trembling, like time itself had punished him harder than we ever could.
I'm dying,
He said.
No preamble, no pride, just truth. Brian didn't flinch, didn't offer comfort, just waited. The air between them was heavy, years of silence crammed into seconds.
I made mistakes. I thought control meant love. I was wrong. I see that now. And I'm sorry.
His father rasped. Brian's jaw clenched. I could feel the weight of that moment from the hallway, but I didn't step in. I had no place in that scene. This was between a father and his son. And some ghosts need to be exorcised alone. Then I heard Brian speak, calm, but sure.
I forgive you, but I won't undo what I've built. I won't let go of the only woman who ever loved me when I had nothing. Not for legacy, not for guilt, not even for you.
God, the strength in his voice. It made something deep in me ache. Later, he found me in the kitchen. Didn't say a word. Just pulled me into his arms like I was the only anchor he had left in the world. I kissed him first. Slow, intentional, like I was sealing that decision with my body, with my heart. We didn't speak as he lifted me onto the counter, as his mouth found my neck, my collarbone, the curve of my breast. We didn't need to, because that night wasn't about lust. It was about choice, about everything he'd lost, and everything he chose to keep. Me. Us. The home we built with bare hands and bruised hearts. A life not based on someone else's name, but on ours. And as he moved inside me, forehead pressed to mine, breath shaky, whispering,
You're my future, Kelly.
I knew no empire could ever compare to the love of a man who chose you over everything he was supposed to want.
It's the little things that undo me. The way she walks around our apartment barefoot like she owns the place, because she does. The way she steals the blanket in the middle of the night, then curls into me when I pretend to be mad. The way she calls me bossy, right after she's followed my every order, breathless and wrecked beneath me. I'm still intense, still stubborn, still the man who once thought love was weakness. But Kelly makes me soft in all the right places, and harder than I've ever been in all the others. Last night was fire. We didn't make love gently. It started in the kitchen, her in one of my shirts, biting into a strawberry. I pressed her against the counter, lifted her up like she weighed nothing, tasted her mouth until we were drunk on it. The shirt was gone before we made it to the bedroom. She was all soft curves and warm skin, moaning my name like a promise. And I didn't hold back. I wanted her to feel everything. Every kiss, every thrust, every truth I never said out loud. She was wild, desperate, begging, and I gave her everything, again and again, until she couldn't say anything at all. Now it's morning. I'm watching her from the doorway as she sits at the edge of the bed, clutching her stomach. Kelly? She glances back, a little pale, and gives me a crooked smile.
Probably just something I ate.
But I see her eyes flick to the calendar on the wall. Her fingers press gently over her abdomen. A quiet thought slips into the space between us. Hope. Maybe this time we won't lose it. Maybe this time, it's not just love that's growing between us. Maybe this time, it's family.
I used to think family wasn't in the cards for me. Too much had happened. Too many scars. Too many nights spent dreaming of something soft, something safe, and waking up alone.
But now
I wake up with his arms around me, his hand low on my belly, where our future kicks softly beneath my skin. His mouth murmuring half asleep, I love yous into my shoulder. And suddenly, that girl I used to be feels like another lifetime. The contract? Gone. What we have now, it's real. undeniable. Ours. Our second wedding isn't flashy. It's not about appearances or obligation. It's about everything we've survived. Everything we've become. I'm barefoot in a white silk dress, visibly pregnant, and glowing from something more than hormones. Brian's in a dark suit, no tie, his hand shaking slightly when he reaches for mine, because he still can't believe I'm his. And I can't believe he's mine. The moment I see her, my sister, in her wheelchair, beaming through tears, I nearly lose it. She made it. After everything, she made it. Brian paid for her surgery without ever telling me. Just did it. Quietly. Because that's the kind of man he is now. A man who doesn't need a contract to love. A man who chose me. The vows are simple. No promises of perfection. Just truth. Just us. I didn't believe in fate. I whisper, my voice trembling, until you messed up my life and gave me one worth living. His eyes, those stormy blue-gray eyes, fill with tears he doesn't bother to hide. He cups my cheek like I'm the most fragile thing he's ever held.
I used to think love made you weak, but loving you made me whole.
He says, voice rough and raw. We kiss. And just like that, the past disappears. This is our beginning. Our chaos. Our miracle. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel like I'm surviving. I feel like I've come home.
I never thought a night like this would be mine. 5 years married. 3 kids. And still, when I look at her across the table tonight, in that black silk dress that hugs her like a second skin, I swear my pulse stutters like it did the first time she walked into my office. The kids are with her sister for the night, bless her. Our 2 boys exhausted her all day, and the baby girl we swore wouldn't be spoiled is currently learning. She owns me completely. But tonight Kelly is mine. The private rooftop of our house is lit with soft golden lights. The city hums below us. Her laughter dances on the air as she sips her wine, teasing me for getting sentimental. But I don't care. I am sentimental. About her. About us. I raise my glass, locking eyes with her. To the woman who taught me what love is, and gave me a life I never had the courage to ask for. She smiles. That smile that still floors me.
To the man who nearly ruined me, and then built me a kingdom instead.
Later, when we're finally alone in our bedroom, things get quiet, heavy with tension. The kind I never stop craving. She stands by the window, moonlight brushing over her curves. That dress slipping off her shoulder, like it's begging me to follow through on every thought I've had since dinner. I missed you today, I murmur behind her, my hands finding her waist. Her breath catches when I press my lips to the base of her neck.
I missed you yesterday too. And the day before that.
She whispers, tilting her head. I take my time undressing her, piece by piece, like I'm unwrapping a gift I already know by heart, but still crave like the first time. My hands roam over her body, slow and possessive. She shivers when my lips find the soft skin just below her collarbone, then trail lower, brushing over the curve of her breast with reverence. Her nipples tighten as I graze my thumb across them, and she arches into me with a low moan that goes straight to my gut. God, I love you, I whisper. She pulls my shirt off in one motion, her nails dragging down my chest like she knows exactly how to drive me insane.
I love you too, and I'm right here. Take me, Brian.
She murmurs, voice thick with heat. That's all I need. I slide my hands down her thighs, lifting her easily and pressing her back against the pillows. Her legs wrap around me, instinctively pulling me closer as I settle between them, our bodies already aching to come together. But I tease her first, just a little. I run my mouth along the inside of her thigh, feeling her tremble under me. I taste her slowly, deliberately, until her fingers are tangled in my hair and she's moaning my name like a prayer. Every kiss slow and sure. Every touch a reminder that she's not just my wife. She's still the woman who undoes me. I taste her size. I memorize the curve of her hips all over again. Her hands in my hair, her thighs around my waist, her nails on my back. When I finally thrust into her, she gasps and clutches my back, her body arching to meet mine. The heat between us is blinding, overwhelming, but we've done this dance 100 times now. We know each other's rhythm. We chase that high together, building it with every slow grind, every deep kiss, every whispered word meant for no one else but us.
Harder.
She pleads against my ear. I give her exactly that. The room is filled with the sounds of skin against skin, of her cries and my gritted moans, of the headboard gently tapping the wall as I move faster, deeper, pushing us both to the edge. When she comes, it's with a cry so raw, so beautiful, I lose myself right after her, holding her tight as we ride out the aftershocks in each other's arms. Afterward, we're tangled in the sheets, breathless and flushed. Her head rests on my chest, her fingertips tracing lazy circles over my skin.
I'll never get tired of this.
I kiss the top of her head, smiling. Good, because I plan on doing this with you for the rest of my damn life. And I mean it. Every slow kiss, every desperate touch, every night she lets me love her like this. It's the only eternity I'll ever need.